There's some lighter molecules and some heavier molecules. It's a little bit like H2O, you know, is water, so there's oxygen and hydrogen makes water. Those are two molecules. Well, essential oil is the same, but it has many different molecules. Now there are some light molecules and some heavy molecules. When you distill an oil, the light molecules are the one that comes out first. They're the first ones to come out, and then at the end, you'll have the heavy molecules being extracted. Now if I don't distill the right time, the right length of time, and I stop my distillation before it's finished, it's not that I lost some oil, it's that I'm missing a chain of molecules and I have an unbalanced oil. My oil is like this, I'm missing all that chain of molecules. So what's going to happen is I'm not going to have a quality oil. It's not just a loss in money, it's a loss in the quality. It's the same reason we have to know the temperature and pressure, because if we distill at a too high temperature or with too much pressure, we will harm the lighter molecules. They'll get harmed, they'll get destroyed or changed, and then we will be missing a part of molecule, so we'll have an unbalanced oil. So knowing the exact temperature, usually our steam is around 110 degrees, and then knowing the pressure, we're at 1 bar, and then knowing the correct distillation time. Now, for the steam, we have many things also that are even more complicated and important. You know, we cut the lavender and we let it dry in the field, right? Do you know why we do that? It's not for fun.
Water.
So the water can evaporate. Basically, when we cut the plants fresh, if we don't let them dry, we will have something happening called hydrolyze. Hydrolyze in French, so I don't know how you translate it. Hydrolyze. Hydrolyze is a molecule called alpha terpineol that will be in our essential oil, which is comparable to water in suspension in the oil. Now that would give us more oil, technically, but it would not be a quality oil. So we let the plants dry so that molecule evaporates, and then we bring it here to distill. If we use what we call a wet steam, which is a steam, you know, when you heat water you have steam, but you still have some water molecules that aren't transformed into steam that are still floating with the steam. If we keep those water molecules in there, we have a wet steam. If we dry the steam, so we get those water molecules out and only have what is steam sent, it's called a dry steam. If we use a wet steam, we will have that process, that alpha terpineol will be back in our oil, and so we will have a hydrolyse again. All right. Also, if we distill too long, we can have that happen also, because it's wet for too long, we don't send enough steam. So all of that is what, you know, technical things we need to make sure of. So even though on paper it seems very simple to distill a plant, if we want to have a quality oil, we need to manage really everything and make sure of what we're doing. I'm going to explain a little bit how this distillery works. Basically, this distillery has been built here. It was first built here about 45 years ago, and it was built here for a simple reason. There is a spring here, and the main thing we need for distilling is water. We need it to make steam, and we need to cool down our steam, so we need a lot of water. So we have a spring here, so quality water running here, so we can use for our distillery. Now, we actually rebuilt over the years our distillery here. This is the third distillery that has been built on this location, and this is the third season for this one, so it's brand new. And we changed it because Young Living was getting bigger and we needed to think ahead, and we knew we were going to have to change a little bit our way of working. So we have a spring water, and the back over there you have a tank, a big tank, water tank. This is where the water from our spring comes in and we store it. Right behind this, I don't think you see it, but you'll look, you have another tank, but it's vertical, and that's the boiler. Basically, we send natural gas, which he's filling up right now, to heat our water and transform it into steam. Out of that boiler, the steam is wet and high pressure, about 8 bars. So right here, you have this line, you see it going all the way here. The first part of it will dry the steam, take any water molecule that is in steam out and send it back to the boiler to get reheated. And the second will depressurize our steam so that it's at maximum 1 bar. Then you can see it goes like this, and comes out here. So this is where our steam is coming out. Now, these containers is what we have different at this distillery. We actually have 7 of them. You might have noticed the truck waiting over there had one on the back of it, because they load on back of trucks. We work in co-op. We have farmers that are far away, and we are adding more and more farmers as we're growing. So we need to be able to reach them, but we still need to be able to distill. The older distillery we had to fill it in, and then once it was distilled, we had to empty it and clean it. It would take us about half an hour in between each distilling. These, 2 minutes. Once I'm finished distilling, to start another one, 2 minutes, because I have 2 that can sit here, and I can still have 5 being filled by the farmers in the field. And they can be far away. We have a truck that brings them back, while these 2 have to be distilled. So it's an idea of being able to reach more farmers and still being efficient enough to supply lavender oil for you. So the way this works is very simple. The truck will come and unload this, and then at the bottom of these, and you can climb up afterwards and look inside, you have some plants, but at the bottom of these you have stainless steel pipes that run with holes. So basically, when this is dropped, I can just plug this in and close this, which is my lid. Just close it, plug it in, and my steam is distributed, and the steam will come out of the top of the hat. I'll call it a hat. Alright? So it's very simple to use. And as soon as I'm finished, I have another one there. I can just lift my hand, go, drop it there, turn this, plug it in over there, 2 minutes, distilling again. No pause. And then this one is finished, so the truck will come, pick it up, go and dump it, pick up another one that has been filled, put it back there in the process that this one is distilling, and we never end. We have a very short period of time to distill our lavender. We have 1 month. We have the month of July. So we can't wait around. We don't have enough time. In Ecuador, on the farm, they can distill year round. So they have the time to do things a different way. You know, here, when it's time to distill, it's time to distill. The only thing that makes it that we have 1 month and not 2 weeks to distill our lavender is that we grow at different altitudes. So the lower altitude one will start distilling first, and then the higher we go in the season, the higher in the altitude we'll go. Do you have any questions for now? Did I miss something? No? Alright. So once the hat is closed, the steam will go. Do you see that? I don't know what you see actually. So let me do you see that long pipe there? Yep. That pipe like this, do you see it? Mm-hmm. This is a double pipe, so you have a pipe inside and a pipe outside. Mm-hmm. Now inside you have the steam and the essential oil coming out of this vat that runs through it. And on the outside we have our spring water coming in from our spring that goes in our water tank. And this is an exchange of heat. Basically the steam and the essential oil start being cooled down while our spring water starts being heated up. And it makes that in our water tower over there, the water is usually at 80 degrees. So it's much easier to heat it in our boiler and transform it into steam. Then it goes on the side there where we have another pipe, which is the cooling system. And the cooling system is a big pipe like this, and you have small pipes inside. In the small pipes we run really cold water, and on the outside we have the steam and the essential oil. Get cooled down back to liquid form, and they go in there in our separators. You can go see the separators. Right now they're distilling mostly lavandine in there, so it's a bit of a mess because lavandine produces a lot of oil, so they have a lot of containers. So try and not break anything, but you can go and look. All right. What else can I say about our distillery? Everything, this is a closed circuit distillery. We don't throw anything out in nature. Even the floor water, when it's cooled down, it's not thrown out. We actually send it to our water tower, which makes the cold water and sends it in those little pipes to cool down the rest. So it's a closed circuit. Even though floor water, you know, is natural, if we start sending liters of it in the river, the animals in there might not be happy. So we don't do that. Everything is closed. We have different heat exchange. We have different techniques. All the pipes you see are actually heat proof, so they're surrounded by something that keeps the heat in, and so if you touch them, even though it's steam, you won't feel heat, so that we keep. So everything's been, you know, we've pushed everything to be the best efficient and saving energy. All right? No questions? You're like, you know how to run this? To be honest, yeah. Distilling. All right, so what's interesting is I told you know about distillation time and how we need to distill the correct amount of time to extract even the heavy malt. So two things to answer that question. First, when we distill an oil, about 80% of the oil comes out in the first half of the distillation. All right. So we have 80% of the oil. So a lot of farmers that distill Lavender, after half of the distillation time, they stop. They have 80% of their oil. Distilling costs a lot of money. They don't care about the last 20% missing. It's for an industry. Obviously, we don't. So Lavender used to take an hour and a half to distill completely. But with this new distillery, we've noticed that we are actually on a shorter distillation time, about 1 hour. That's not because we send more pressure or anything. We send more steam, but we have bigger pipes. So basically, we have the same amount of pressure. We're sending just more steam through it, and it's not harming anything, but we're extracting the oil faster. This is interesting for us also because there's less worry about that alpha terpineol, that hydrolyse happening, because the longer we distill with the less steam, the more chance we might have to have this happening again. So how do we know when distillation is over? We can use a stopwatch, but it's not going to be perfect because depending on how much exact plant we have in there, how much exact steam is going through, you know, it'll vary, sometimes by 15 minutes even. So how would we know?
You measure the oil.
What?
You measure the oil with the right molecules come out at the end.
No, you cannot do a GC at the same time you're distilling. That would be cool, but no. All right, we're separating during our distillation process. We're seeing what's coming out. If nothing comes out anymore, we wait 10 minutes and we're still distilling, and we have nothing, still nothing came out after those 10 minutes, we know it's distilled. When we open this, it doesn't smell like lavender anymore. So it's very simple. It's the same idea as many people ask me, how do you clean the distillery, you know, in between distillation? Because this is a co-op, so we distill clary sage, lavender, oregano, every oil. So how do we clean, you know, all those pipes?
Steam.
No, we use steam. We have steam.
Yeah, steam.
We put an empty container, we close it, we send steam to that process, and I swear it's very clean afterwards. Because we can send a lot of steam.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yeah?
Yep. Are they stainless steel?
Yes. These are stainless steel. When you go up, you can see we have 2 of them that aren't stainless steel that are for the Lavender. The Lavender farmers did not want to pay the extra money for stainless steel. Then we have 5 that are stainless steel. So you can go look in and look at the inside is stainless steel, and look at the plant also. This has been distilled last night. So you'll see still steam coming out a little because it's still hot. You must understand that there's about, so for Lavender, this is a 24 square meter vat container. We can put about 1 hectare of lavender, so 2 acres, 1 hectare of lavender in there, and we can put 1.5 hectares of lavender. Plants are smaller in there, so 3 acres of lavender in there. Plants are smaller. This, for example, 1 hectare of lavender will give you about 120 liters of oil. As population lavender, the same amount, so 1 hectare, will give you 25 to 30 liters of oil.
Okay, you're gonna have to say that again.
3 hectares, 25.
1 hectare.
1 hectare. Okay.
1 hectare of lavender is 25 to 30 liters. 1 hectare of lavender is 120 liters of oil.
No.
25,
Yes.
30.
The weight? What makes the weight is?
That's difficult. 300 kilos of lavender is about 1 liter of oil. So we
Okay,
have
yes, you can.
300%, no, 200, 299 of it is plant, and 1% is oil. All right? This is not hot, so it's good for now, but when Benoit comes back. Any other questions?
What happens after July?
We sleep. We hibernate for 11 months. Then we get back up. Oh, this is still. After the oil is separated, we collect it. Then we filter it. We let it air because we have the green smell, which is a distillation smell. So we let the oil air for about 2 or 3 weeks in like specific vats with little holes to just air that smell out. And then we will put them in barrels and ship them to the US. During autumn, what we do is we get earth ready for new fields, or we take some fields out, or we have all this to do. During the winter time, we don't have much to do, which is the best part of the year. And no, I'm kidding. The best part is when you separate your oil. Trust me. You should see the farmers. They're like. And then in spring is when we replant the new fields and start, cleaning the fields. This is when we can use the machine that goes in and takes the weeds out. In France, we use mechanical ways. We don't have labor work, so we use machines to come in and clean our fields. And we can do this in spring because we have some rain in spring. If we do this now, we're gonna, turn the earth around, and all the moist that is, keeping our plants alive would dry, and the plants would die. So we plant and we clean the fields in spring, and then we can cut and distill during the summer. All right?
Do the plants live from the rain in spring? The whole summer?
Yeah. We need basically lavender, and the plants we grow here do not need a lot of water. But they need water in autumn so that they can replenish from the heat they had in the summer, and they need water in spring so they can grow back. So that's the two ideas. Now, last year, for example, we had no rain during autumn, and we lost a lot of the fields because after we cut them, it was dry during the whole summer. But if there's no water in autumn, they're not rebuilding roots. They're not rebuilding, leaf content, so they'll dry up. And so we lost a lot of fields like that last
How
autumn.
deep are they?
The roots can go 1 to 2 meters deep, like usually 1 meter deep, I would say. But yeah, because a lot of the moist is at the bottom, so the roots grow actually deep. Anything else?
Yes, one more question.
Yeah.
So before the farmers started working with Young Living, how did they distill their lavender?
Before they started working with Young Living, you can see a lot of the distilleries around here. They're the same looking as the one at Young Living, but they're all made of iron. They're all very rusty, but the process was similar. 100 years ago, it was all wild cut, and they had small portable distilleries. And ever since then, the distillation process has been similar. We've just gotten better at controlling the steam, temperature, all of that has been getting better and better. And the cooling system also, we're more and more efficient. So right now, when the oil and the water comes out after it's been cooled, it's around 25 to 27 degrees Celsius. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. I have no idea. 27 degrees Celsius.
27 is about
80
something.
All right, so 80 Fahrenheit. So that's good because we want it to be cold coming out. Specifically, if we want to gather some floor water, we need that first contact with the air to be cold, because floor water is mainly water. And compared to an essential oil, if it comes out hot, we might have a bacterial growth in the water. An oil, you'll never have a bacterial growth in it. You can only have high oxidation. We're going to speak in French. You can only have, how do you say it?
Oxidation.
Oxidation of the oil, but you can't have bacterial growth or anything like that. Anything else? Are we all good? Yeah.
When you see such blue containers on a farm, is this always a sign that it's a young living partner?
We have actually now. This distillery was built 3 years ago, and we had 7 containers. And when it was built, we were the only one to have them. And then we actually had 2 other distillery built, still to seal approved, at different regions also that have the same. So some of them are, but they wouldn't be driving in this region. They would be further away. And then there are some containers that are lighter blue, not this exact blue, that aren't ours.
Okay.
Usually this exact blue are ours, but the lighter blue ones aren't.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So you can, if you're careful, you can go up there and look a little bit inside. And if you want to look at the separation, I will explain quickly when you're coming in.